Hello students, welcome back to Ms. Bell's classroom. Please remember to enroll in my class by clicking the subscribe button. And today we're going to continue our space series. So we'll be talking about another planet in our solar system. And remember to take notes because there just might be a quiz at the end of the lesson. So if we look here, does anyone know what planet this is? It's not Jupiter. We talked about that last lesson. Yes, it's Saturn. How did you know it's Saturn? So it looks very unique. And the ring was a big clue. Good. As you can tell, it looks a lot different than the planets that we've talked about in the past. So Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun and the 2nd largest planet in our solar system. Does anyone remember what the largest planet in our solar system is? Jupiter, yes. So Jupiter is bigger than Saturn, but Saturn is the 2nd largest. And Saturn is unique among the planets because of the system of icy rings it has. It is not the only planet to have rings, but none are as amazing as Saturn's or as complex as Saturn's. And like the gas giant Jupiter, Saturn is also a massive ball made mostly of hydrogen and helium. So we can all see the ring here, but raise your hand if you think Saturn might have a moon or more than one moon or many moons. How many moons do you think Saturn has? Yes. 5, more than that. Not 10. Not 20. Not 50. It's actually surrounded by more than 60 known moons. It only has 53 confirmed moons, so some of them are still in the process of being confirmed. And Saturn is home to some of the most fascinating landscapes in our solar system. From the jets of water that spray from Saturn's moon, Enceladus, to the methane lakes on smoggy Titan, which is also a moon of Saturn. The Saturn system is a rich source of scientific discovery and still holds many mysteries. The Saturn system refers to Saturn and its rings and moons, the farthest planet from Earth discovered by the unaided human eye. Saturn has been known since ancient times, and the planet is named for the Roman god of agriculture and wealth, who is also the father of Jupiter. So go ahead and take some notes. If you have questions, raise your hand, and I can review anything if you forgot or need any reminders. Saturn is 9 times wider than Earth, so if Earth were the size of a nickel, Saturn would be about as big as a volleyball. So if we look here, you can see this is Earth and then this is Saturn. So it is about 9 times wider than Earth, and that would be the comparison if Earth was next to Saturn. Saturn is 9.5 astronomical units away from the Sun. Does anyone know what an astronomical unit is? How far away the planet is from the Sun? Okay, that's a really good guess. 1 astronomical unit, abbreviated as AU, is the distance from the Sun to Earth. From this distance, it takes sunlight 80 minutes to travel from the Sun to Saturn. Go ahead and take some notes. It's very important. Saturn has the second shortest day in the solar system. One day on Saturn only takes 10.7 hours, and Saturn makes a complete orbit around the Sun in about 29.4 Earth years. On Saturn, it is called Saturnian time. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Saturn's axis and if it has a tilt. So Saturn's axis is tilted by 26.73 degrees, which is similar to Earth's 23.5 degree tilt. So we talked about with Jupiter how if you have a tilt on the axis, that causes seasons. So if Saturn is tilted by 26.73 degrees, do you think Saturn has seasons? Yes. Yes, it does. Good. So Saturn experiences seasons just like Earth. Go ahead and take some notes. Write down anything you heard that was important. Raise your hand if you have any questions. Okay, so Saturn took shape when the rest of the solar system formed about 4.5 billion years ago, when gravity pulled swirling gas and dust in to become this gas giant. About 4 billion years ago, Saturn settled into its current position in the outer solar system. Like Jupiter, Saturn is mostly made of hydrogen and helium, the same two main components that made up the Sun. At Saturn's center is a dense core of metals like iron and nickel, surrounded by rocky material and other compounds solidified by the intense pressure and heat. It is enveloped by liquid metallic hydrogen inside a layer of liquid hydrogen, similar to Jupiter's core, but much smaller. And it is hard to imagine, but Saturn is the only planet in our solar system whose average density is less than water. Saturn would float in a giant bathtub if a bathtub was big enough to fit it. Give you some time to catch up on your notes. Okay, let's continue. So, as a gas giant, Saturn doesn't have a true surface. The planet is mostly swirling gases and liquids deeper down. So, while a spacecraft would have nowhere to land on Saturn, it wouldn't be able to fly through either. The extreme pressures and temperatures deep inside the planet crush, melt, and vaporize spacecraft trying to fly into the planet. Saturn is blanketed with clouds that appear as faint stripes, jet streams, and storms. The planet color is different shades of yellow, brown, and gray, and winds in the upper atmosphere reach 1,600 feet per second in the area around the equator. In contrast, the strongest hurricane force winds on Earth top out at about 360 feet per second. The pressure you would feel on the planet is so powerful, it squeezes gas into liquid. And Saturn's North Pole has a very interesting atmospheric feature, a six-sided jet stream. This hexagon-shaped pattern was first noticed in images from the Voyager 1 spacecraft and has been more closely observed by the Cassini spacecraft since. I'm going to show you a picture. So this is at the North Pole of Saturn, and you can see it's a hexagon shape, and it is supposedly a giant storm that is happening at the North Pole. So the storm, spanning about 20,000 miles across, the hexagon is a wavy jet stream of 200 mile per hour winds with a massive rotating storm at the center. And there is no weather feature like it anywhere else in the solar system. Go ahead and to take some notes. So, raise your hand if you think Saturn could have life on the planet. Okay, no one does. That's good. So, Saturn's environment is not conducive to life as we know it. The temperatures, pressures, and materials that characterize the planet are most likely too extreme for organisms to adapt to it. So while planet Saturn is an unlikely place for living things to take hold, the same is not true for some of its mini-moons. Satellites like Enceladus and Titan, home to internal oceans, could possibly support life. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some of Saturn's most interesting moons. So make sure you're taking notes. So Saturn is home to a vast array of intriguing and unique worlds. From the haze-shrouded surface of Titan to crater-riddled Phoebe, each of Saturn's moons tells another piece of the story surrounding the Saturn system. So currently, Saturn has 53 confirmed moons with 9 additional provisional moons awaiting confirmation. So first we're going to start with the moon Titan. So here is a picture of Titan. And this is Saturn's largest moon. And it is an extraordinary moon. Our solar system has more than 150 known moons, but Titan is the only one with a substantial atmosphere. And of all the places in the solar system, Titan is the only place besides Earth known to have liquids in the form of rivers, lakes, and seas on its surface. Titan is larger than the planet Mercury, and it is the second largest moon in our solar system. And can anyone guess which moon is larger in our solar system? And we covered this in the Jupiter lesson. Good, yes, it is Ganymede. And Ganymede is just a little larger by about 2%. Titan's atmosphere is made mostly of nitrogen, like Earth's. The surface pressure is about 50% higher than Earth's. And so Titan has clouds, rain, rivers, lakes, and seas of liquid hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. And the largest seas are hundreds of feet deep and hundreds of miles wide. Beneath Titan's thick crust of water ice is more liquid. It is an ocean primarily of water rather than methane. And Titan has a real chance of having life on it. Let's go ahead and take some notes on Titan. Okay, we're going to talk about another interesting moon. So this is Saturn's moon Phoebe. So here it is. You can see it's very, very cratered. You can see all of those impacts there. So, unlike most major moons orbiting Saturn, Phoebe is very dark and reflects only 6% of the sunlight it receives. Its darkness and irregular retrograde orbit suggest Phoebe is most likely a captured object. And remember that a captured object is a celestial body that is trapped by the gravitational pull of a much bigger body, generally a planet. So Phoebe's darkness in particular suggests that the small moon comes from the outer solar system, an area where there's plenty of dark material. And the final moon of Saturn we are going to cover is Enceladus. And this one is my favorite. So you can see here, if you look here, it looks like there's a lot of ice here. So Enceladus is a very, very icy moon, and few places in our solar system are as compelling as Saturn's icy ocean moon, Enceladus. And a handful of places are thought to have liquid water oceans beneath their frozen shell, but Enceladus sprays its ocean out into space. The liquid water that is on the planet gets spayed out into space, and this is very unique in our solar system. And so since it's so icy and remarkably smooth in some places, and it's very bright white all over, the ice on Enceladus reflects so much sunlight, and the surface temperature is extremely cold. It's about minus 330 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about Saturn's ring. So Saturn's rings are thought to be pieces of comets, asteroids, or shattered moons that broke up before they reached the planet, torn apart by Saturn's powerful gravity. They are made of billions of small chunks of ice and rock coated with another material such as dust. The ring particles mostly range from tiny dust-sized icy grains to chunks as big as a house, and a few particles are as large as mountains. So you can see here the rings. So the rings would look mostly white if you looked at them from the cloud tops of Saturn. Interestingly, each ring orbits at a different speed around the planet. Saturn's ring system extends up to 175,000 miles from the planet, yet the vertical height is typically about 30 feet in the main rings. And the rings are relatively close to each other. So the main rings are A, B, and C. Rings D, E, F, and G are fainter and more recently discovered. So much farther out, there is a very faint Phoebe ring in the orbit of Saturn's moon, Phoebe. And Saturn's magnetic field is smaller than Jupiter's, but still 578 times as powerful as Earth's. Few missions have visited Saturn. Pioneer 11 and Voyagers 1 and 2 flew by. But Cassini orbited Saturn 294 times from 2004 to 2017. About 2 tons of Saturn's mass came from Earth, as the Cassini spacecraft was intentionally vaporized in Saturn's atmosphere in 2017. So go ahead and take notes, and it is time for our quiz. So please take out a piece of paper and write number 1 through 10, and then we will start our quiz. Okay, so because you have 1 through 10, write your name on your quiz. And I'm going to start reading the quiz, so write down your answers. So number 1, true or false? Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system. True or false? Number 2, does Saturn have seasons? Yes or no? Number 3, when did Saturn form? How many years ago? Number 4, what type of planet is Saturn? Number 5, what is the massive hexagon on the northern pole of Saturn? Number 6, how many confirmed moons does Saturn have? Number 7, what is the only larger moon than Titan in the solar system? Number 8, what type of moon is Phoebe? Number 9, name one thing unique about Enceladus moon. Number 10, what planet is Saturn from the sun? Okay, does anyone need me to repeat any questions? Yes. Number 9, name one thing unique about Saturn's moon Enceladus. Okay, any more questions? Repeat it. Okay, so I need you to take out a pen to check your work, and I'm going to tell you the answers. So number 1, true or false? Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system. That is true, with Jupiter being the first largest planet. Number 2, does Saturn have seasons? Yes, it does because of the tilt of its axis. Number 3, when did Saturn form? About 4.5 billion years ago. Number 4, what type of planet is Saturn? It is a gas giant. Number 5, what is the massive hexagon on the northern pole of Saturn? It is a massive storm. Number 6, how many confirmed moons does Saturn have? So Saturn has 53 confirmed moons, and 9 are not confirmed yet. Number 7, what is the only moon larger than Titan in the solar system? It's Ganymede of Jupiter. Number 8, what type of moon is Phoebe? It is a captured object. Some believe it to be an asteroid. Number 9, name one thing unique about Enceladus. So you could have said that it reflects a lot of sunlight. It's extremely cold. There's ice on the surface, or it's covered in ice. It shoots liquid water out would also work. And number 10, what planet is Saturn from the sun? It is the 6th planet from the sun. Go ahead and grade your quizzes and then turn them in. I hope that you got a refresher on Saturn, or you learned some interesting facts about Saturn. And I hope that you're able to relax. Good night.